Welcome to our Masterclass series. This is Dr. Shannon Tran, and I'm very excited to welcome our guest speaker, Ivy Slater. And Ivy is the founder of Slater Success. She is a successful and best-selling author. She's owned and operated a seven-figure printing business before becoming now the CEO of her own company, helping people become better leaders, managers, helping improve their leadership skills, and really making companies more successful. And I know we're going to talk a lot about that because I love how you shared that in your printing business, what you learned most about that is how much business is relationship based and how so much of growing your clientele and understanding your niche's customer needs and positioning yourself is what is needed for success. And I just love that concept because so many times we think that it's all just about having the right product or the right service, but I love how you bring that personal level of relationship-based businesses. I think that's so needed. And so I really want to welcome you to this topic of how to master your work-life balance as you are succeeding in your career, whether that's a business or as a leader in a company. So welcome, Ivy. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm thrilled to be here. I'm thrilled to talk on this topic. Before we always spend a few minutes chatting a little bit and navigating what it's about running a business, being a mom, children at all ages, being a daughter and having a mom who's in her senior years now. It's that navigating. And it was interesting because I was working with some clients earlier today. And this came very relevant of the concept of relationships and how we do business with people for so long. We do business with people because we create a know, like, and trust factor. And when you cross the bridge to trust, you cross the bridge to friendship or business relationship. And sometimes you have to have some businessy, not always easy conversations. Because it is a business, yet you also have very often 5, 10, 15, 20 or more years of a relationship now that has developed with that. So it's all good stuff.
Absolutely. And what I love, because as I was learning more about you, and we've had several conversations now, and you have massive success. I mean, you've already had, a 7-figure business. I mean, this is your second successful business. You're a mom, you're a best-selling author. You have a podcast, you've kind of done it all in terms of just hitting different levels of success. And yet what I really appreciate about you is you're so approachable and personal. And it's just really refreshing. And so I love that you're part of this conversation because I want to hear how you're able to do it. One of the questions that I have for you is, there's so many professional women that I talk to, even entrepreneurs, and they tell me how just burned out they are and how exhausted they are. And I want to hear from you, why do you think this is happening? And really, what's the solution to this burnout and exhaustion that I keep hearing about over and over again?
So, God, that is a spot on question and a spot on issue. So here's the thing. When we talk about balance, my imagery in my head goes to a seesaw, okay? And it's up, it's down. And if you try to balance on a seesaw, you're going to fall. You're going to go in one direction, up or down. It's really, really difficult, hard. You need amazing core, right? And as good as a core as you might have, how do you stay balanced indefinitely on a seesaw? You're going to come down. So if I shift the word from balance to prioritizing, that you're supposed to be going up and down, that's part of that it's a rhythm, it's a flow. That's part of the game. That's part of being fun as a kid on a seesaw. We're going up and down. Yay, this comes up. Yay, this comes up. As opposed to the struggle of trying to be balanced there. So when we look at that and we look at family, we look at business, we look at the marketing, the sales, the finance, the spending time with the kids, or as a class parent. Yeah, my kids are adults. I'm disappearing the end of this week, and we have a wedding, and everybody's taking a few days off because our priority is to be together, right? Mm-hmm. So it's about prioritizing. not about trying to hold a perfect balance. It's about, guess what? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, for me, whenever this airs, because it doesn't matter, my 3 days are going to be power business days to get power family time.
Okay.
Got it?
Yeah.
So that includes that I already have spa reservations with my daughter. Got it? I already have gifts bought for everybody, like, you know, for all the girls. We're seeing some other people. We were going to do some champagne with them. There's a lot of things that have already been planned to actually maximize the joy of the time we spend together. And that's where I want to look at it. It's the joy of the time I spend everywhere I go. It's the joy of the time with my family, and it's the joy of the time with my business.
And I love what you said a moment, because it's a key distinction, which was you said about shifting priorities from balance, or the mindset from balance to priorities. So here's my question for you, because what I often see, I mean, maybe you've seen this too in your work with managers and leaders, where some women, they don't shift or they don't even know that they're burned out because they're so disconnected from themselves, or they don't shift until they have a breakdown in their health. That's what I see, where they're forced to shift. So how do you look ahead, and how do you know when it's time to shift priorities and you're not having to like hit a wall to figure it out, or hit burnout to get the message?
Somehow, some way, we've all had to learn the hard lesson. Okay, myself included. Okay, I've hit many a brick wall in my life. Okay, from the time I was a kid and I was a dancer and I had to get all my studies done, and I did a dual major. So it was, instead of 120 credits, it was 150 credits. And I still had that. I put the pressure on myself to do it in 4 years. It was a 5-year program, but no, I have to get it done. I have to go. So we've all hit that brick wall. Okay. And I'll throw myself right in there of me. Yeah. So we have a choice when we do. And the choice is, are we going to learn from this and create another pattern to do this, or are we going to repeat the existing pattern? So every time we crash into that brick wall, we have an option and we have a choice to say, gee, do I have to do it again this way, or is there another way I can learn to do this? What can I do? I do this with my clients all the time. We break something down and we say, what can I do? And I'll challenge them. They're like, oh, Ivy, and you know, we're navigating this, and this didn't go in this meeting, or this didn't go well, or we're reaching these sales goals, and this isn't work, you know, all the things that are not. And I'll say, what can you do? What can I do? Ask yourself and break it down, because you don't have to repeat the pattern and hit the brick wall again. You're choosing to.
And I like, by asking that question, it slows someone down. Because I know, like myself, if you're an ambitious woman and you're a high achiever, like, no, I don't want to slow down. I want to go. And I think that's maybe when you don't take the time to reflect or slow down, or ask a powerful question like, wait a minute, what can I do to make things work for me? And for me, it was asking for help and learning to delegate.
Yeah.
And letting go of things that weren't as much of a priority right now. And that's what helped me climb out of burnout.
And the more we hold on to that control.
No, don't make me give up the control.
No. I have to be in control. Yes. I am also a dedicated control freak. Okay. And it has taken me years to say, what's the worst thing that's going to happen when I release control? Now, there are certain things, of course, I get very protective of. I don't release control around my finances very easily. Okay. It takes me a while to release control around my sales. I'll start releasing control around my marketing and touch in with it. You know, just because you release control doesn't mean you walk away from it. It means that you're releasing the control with a scheduled check-in, right? So you're still the CEO. You're still the leader. So it's not about having control of everything. It's about being the leader and slowly but surely release control. And out of releasing control, you get to lead and grow stronger, smarter, and to greater achievement of your goals, it doesn't mean you walk away from it. It means that you're hiring people that you get the chance to know, like, and trust by training them, checking in with them, having regular meetings. Running a strong team is the greatest achievement in leadership.
I love that. And I know for me, it even starts with your family, right? Because that's where I found myself at home being so efficient at work, and then coming home and like letting my kids just run amok and realizing, no, we need to work as a team. And now they all have delegated chores and things that they need to be doing so we can all perform well at home. And like you said, enjoy quality time, because when you've got laundry and, groceries and everything else going on, bills to pay, mortgage, etc., it's hard to relax and just enjoy your family when that's at the back of your mind.
Right. And that's part of it. And the greatest practice in building a great team is looking at your family and your home life as part of your team. And I've always been pretty vocal about this. My dry cleaner is in my database, and this is a phone call that happened at 8 a.m. this morning. I can't make this stuff up. I just can't make this stuff up. Okay. So I mentioned we're all getting together. There's a wedding, right? My daughter borrowed my formal outfit. I picked it up from her last night. My kids are 24 and 27. They're out of the house in their own jobs, and right. So, but I loaned that, came back, and I looked at it, and I was like, and she goes, I never ended up wearing it, so it's still clean. You don't have to worry about it. So I looked at it, and I was like, well, maybe I didn't dry clean it, or maybe in the back and forth and throwing it in and out of the car, it got dirty. It needs to be cleaned before I wear it to a formal wedding. So I leave on Thursday morning. It's Monday. So in my database, it says Josh, dry cleaners. And I called Josh at 8. And before I could even tell him the tales of, hey, this is Ivy and blah, 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 maybe he's like, he picks up the phone and goes, good morning, Ivy. How are you today? I'm like, oh, Josh, I love you. This is what I need. He goes, absolutely. Have no fear. We'll get it done for you. So are you building the relationships with your own clients? Are you building the relationships with the resources at your fingertips? It doesn't matter if it's fingertips of your team in your business, in your career, in your home, in your health community. But do you know who's actually on your team versus are they just, oh my God, I need help? So if they're part of your team, they have a buy-in to you, right? Josh knows my mom. He's met my daughter. If my husband calls, he knows, right? He's part of our team. Are you building those resources? If it's bringing in a cleaning crew to your house every so often, if you're running a business, who's your team and how are you cultivating it? It's how you do it at business is how you do it at home. And when you start using the same principles and you show up in that level of leadership, things get done with less stress.
I love that. What it made me realize is just, it's such a good reminder for all of us, because I think in today's fast-paced society, it's so easy for things to just be transactional, right? Even if just, I need to check it off my to-do list, and there's no like emotion behind it or connection behind it. And that's when it can get unfulfilling. And what I love about what you're sharing is it just really brings you back to the reason why you're doing something and those relationships and how to make connections. Because it's true, when you have a good connection with your team or your family, it does make a difference, right? When I say, hey, I want to enjoy dinner together, so when I get home, so what that means is this, and this needs to be complete so we can have that nice dinner. Everyone wins, because then when I'm sitting at the table, I'm actually enjoyable. It's a joy to be around me.
Right. And it gives us the ability to show up 100% present in all areas.
Mm-hmm. I remember,
versus, having, a foot here and a foot there, and you're trying to do this balancing thing, and you're trying to get dinner on the table because, I still want to get this, marketing done, or I'm going to do this. And then you're not, is this done? You're never really anywhere. And that causes an enormous amount of stress, anxiety. And if I may share a story.
Please do.
Okay. Years and years and years ago, when my daughter first went into middle school, when I talk about, this is about having your priorities. Okay. It's not about balance, about understanding your priorities and where things are. I was running my printing company. Slater Success wasn't even in my vision at the time. Got it? I was running a successful business. We had deadlines. We had clients. I worked with top tier publishers and publishing houses in New York City. Our clients included W, New York Magazine, Harper's Bazaar Town, right? Top people. Got it? So I'm not kidding about deadlines. My daughter started a new school. She was making new friends, and she had my kids were raised in New York. So she had just gotten a cell phone, and she had to call me when she was leaving school and when she got home, where her younger brother and her babysitter was. Okay. And all the kids kind of traveled together. It was within a few block radius. So she calls me and she goes, Mom, we all got this assignment in social studies. We have to do a project. There's 6 of us in our designated groups. And I said, I live very close to the school, so everybody is going to come over to our house and we're going to work on the project. I was like, so now here's mommy at work saying, oh my goodness, I'm so excited. My daughter's making friends in the new school, right? Every mother or father who's listening to this, it's right. It just hits up, she's making friends and this is so wonderful. So I said, wonderful. So tell me, who's coming over? Because now I want to get familiar, and she's going to chat with me for a minute or two. And she tells me another girl and another girl and another boy and a boy and a different boy and a different boy. And so there were 3 girls and there were 3 boys. And we had a rule. My kids grew up in an apartment, so there was no playroom, it was a living room and bedrooms. And the rule was, you cannot close your door with co-ed. Right? If it were girls, if it was boys, I have a child in age, you cannot close your door. That was the rule in the house. Okay. So now I hear all these quote unquote new friends. And as a mom, I heard all these strangers, boys and girls who are now 12 years old, right, are coming to my house to do this project. Wonderful, sweetheart. Did you call the babysitter? Does she know you're on the way? I will let her know to have some snacks out for you. Great. I hang up, I call my babysitter, I let her know. I put the phone down in my office. Don't even clean up my desk. I just create a stack, take out my pocketbook from my bottom dress drawer. And I said, guys, I'm out. They're like, oh my goodness, is everything okay at home? Is everything okay with your daughter? What's wrong? I said, she's on her way home with new girls and boys coming to the house for the first time. I'm out. They're like, got it. Everybody understood because everybody understood my priorities.
And you understood your priorities and you honored them.
I understood my own priorities. I honored them. I hopped in the subway, took the subway home. That was 20 minutes. On the walk from the subway to our apartment, there was this pizza place that used to bake cookies in the afternoons after school in their ovens, right? How do you bring a business? I stopped. I picked up a dozen cookies. I walked in and I said, hey, I'm home. And the kids came running. Oh, what are you doing home from work early? I'm like, things just finished up easily. And so I had the opportunity. So I thought I'd bring home cookies for you. I understood my priorities. I honored my priorities.
I love that story because it's really being there for people who matter to you at a critical time. So what about, when we're overwhelmed and burned out, we don't know our priorities. So if someone is like, how did you get there? And clearly you were already there, but looking back at someone who maybe is saying, I'm so overwhelmed, they're overcommitted. Like what can they do to start getting clarity on their priorities?
So I appreciate you thinking I was already there. When I then went to build Slater Success a bunch of years later, and I was still running my company, Slater Graphics, and I was building this business, and I had my kids looking at colleges and this and that and the other thing, and all that navigating going on, I was overwhelmed. And I couldn't get out of a swirl that I put myself in. Mm. Okay. The biggest thing I did was to start reaching out for support because I put myself in this tornado and I wanted to be everything for everyone. I wanted to build this business to the greatest capacity it could be, but I had no idea what that looked like because I couldn't slow down long enough to create that vision. I wanted my kids to see their fulfillment from their college dreams to this and that, and be present with these stages of their life. You know, it's all of a sudden your kids are in high school and they're looking for their next steps, and you go through this mommy moment that says, oh my God, I only have a couple of years left. I got to grab it right now. My life is coming to an end. My mommyhood life is coming to an end, right? Mm-hmm. If I don't take advantage of this business opportunity, it will never be here again. I'm building this business. I have to be 100% there. So I was doing 100% for 100% at 100%, except for me. I gained weight. I was not well. I was not healthy. I found I was working so much 24/7 that I found there were days I started working from home, which I thought would be helpful, but I found there were days I never left the house for 3-4 days at a time. I never actually said this out loud on an interview before. Oh my goodness. It was really bad. It was really unhealthy. I was always a person who exercised regularly. I took walks every day. I walked to work. I turned into this trying to be everything and everyone for everything but me. Mm. And I had to stop. And as much as I wanted to do everything for everyone, I needed to start taking care of myself, because I was doing nothing for anyone. I was a crappy mom during that time. I was a crappy leader of my business during that time. I was a crappy wife at that time. I was a shitty girlfriend. And thank goodness I had girlfriends who called me out on it. And I did.
So what was the turning point for you where you had, because sometimes when we're in it, we don't realize, oh my gosh, it's been 2 days. Like, it's interesting you said this. So I carved out 3 days. Before we started, I told you how I'm going to Tahoe, because I was looking at my schedule. I thought, oh my gosh, I've been working 7 days a week for the last 3 weeks. I didn't even realize that I had been doing that. And so, and I caught myself, I was about to, I can fit this little thing in here. And that's not a big idea. And I thought, no, I'm going to just do nothing for 72 hours and just relax and rejuvenate. So what was that defining moment for you? Because it can sneak up on you where you're working 7 days, or you're in the house 3 days, right, in a row, and you're not realizing you never left.
You know, I have a great people in my life who call me out on my crap. And it took a while, and everybody gave me like, you're building, we respect you, we love you, we support you, we respect you, we love you, we support you, for a while. And then it was tears of the people who loved me the most who started calling me out. And they kept saying, are you going to be happy when you go down and you can't work? Are you going to be happy when you're not going to be well and you can't show up here for your kid? You know, is your business worth missing your son's show? I was like, absolutely not. They're like, really? Because that's how you're playing it. Is this worth that? And I had people close to me starting to ask me those questions. And I realized, how many times do you have to be hit in the head with the golden nugget before you say, wow, I'm so lucky, I'm so blessed, I'm so grateful. Let's make sure all these great things stay in my life, and it's time to practice what we preach again.
Yeah, that's so key, that a lot of times we don't think about, is having that accountability partner. And it's true. I tease with my husband, I say, there's many things I like about you, but what I really most value about you is you call me on my BS. Because he'll just call it, and it gets me like almost like a plane going on to its destination. It helps me course correct, because otherwise I can just get tunnel vision. So I love that you shared that. So I think one great strategy that someone is feeling overwhelmed right now is to get themselves connect, like you said, ask for help, but ask help from someone who knows what's really important to you and what's a priority, and can help you stay grounded to that.
And I think what you're saying is key, is the grounding. So write down and identify your priorities. Okay. Step one, write down and identify your priorities. Who and what do you love? Mm. And if you don't put yourself on the top of that list, notice it. Because if you don't love yourself, how can you give love to the people around you and things like your own business?
Yeah.
If I don't stop and love and refurbish myself, then how can I love my business? If I don't stop and love myself, how can I love my children and love the people, my husband, my mother, my sister, my girlfriends, my friendships? If I don't love myself, then what love do I have to give? And that same shows up with my business and my clients. So stop and look at your list and see where you fit on it. If you're not at the top, reach out and get some support around getting yourself there and seeing yourself there. Because from that place, you have the ability to build a life and a business that has a balanced structure with prioritizing within it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that shift from balance to priorities is what will also help you know when, if you are spending a little more time in one area of your life, it makes sense to you, right? I mean, if this is a time where, okay, my kids are more independent, they're doing well, I can spend more time in my business. Or this is a time where maybe, I've kind of neglected my marriage and I need to reconnect and spend some time. Last year, my husband and I, we started to do once a month couples massages. I never thought he would because he's a retired police officer. So that's like so out of his comfort zone. But I said, just come with me once. Now he loves it. Now he's reminding me, oh, is it that time? She could go get a massage. I'm like, wow, that's the power of like you said, being present and just connecting with people and having that love there, because he's now doing things I never thought he would be even open to, just by having that intention that, I want a good marriage. I want us to get along. I want us to enjoy each other. I don't want to neglect you or take advantage of you. So I love that you're sharing that, because I think we all need to take time to step back and reflect. And sometimes when we are ambitious or we're striving towards a goal, we're afraid to do that because we're afraid to slow down.
I do once a month, at least once a month, I do acupuncture. I do a massage. I work out several mornings a week. This morning I started with a boxing class. It's early. It's what do you do for yourself? Because if you're not taking care of you, you have nothing to give. Yeah. You truly have nothing to give. You can't build a business. You can't be present for your kids. Last week I worked, we had the home upstate New York, and I worked from our home upstate with my mom. My mom and I were up there for the week. And in the evening, my son lives out in California. I'm on the East Coast. He's on the West Coast. And because it was kind of like, kind of working vacation time, right? I worked a bunch of hours a day and I gardened and we baked together and we went for dinner one evening. We went to Walmart one night. We did all this fun stuff, right? So I was up and it was like 11:15. So I FaceTime my son after work. It's like, hey, making dinner. And I'm like, hey, just hanging out. And it's opposed to like this, like, oh, we have stuff to talk about, or how was your day at work? It's like, I was just like, hey, I got no agenda. What's going on? It's like, oh, cooking dinner. You want to hang? And it was the time we want together versus the time we're supposed to have.
Gosh, I love that. It's just like, it makes my heart melt, but two, it's like, man, that's true wealth. When you aren't pressured for time, that you can really just enjoy life and your family. And I like, where did the time go? I just realized that we've been talking for 30 minutes now. And it's just like, I could go on and on with you because you just have so much wisdom to share, Ivy. I'm so grateful for just sharing what you have in this conversation and how much wisdom it's giving to women who want to be grounded and want to be living their priorities so they can enjoy themselves and their family. So can you share with us how to get to know you, for women who would like to reach out to you? I know you have books and podcasts and there's different ways to connect with you. So please let our audience know that.
Okay, there's a bunch of, I'll make it real simple. Go to slatersuccess.com. In Slater Success, you should be able to find my most recent book. It's called From the Bar to the Boardroom, Choreographing Business Success Through Authentic Relationships. We're on Amazon. We're just about to go up on Barnes & Noble. So that is 100% accessible. There's also an area on the website that has insights. You could listen to our podcast, Her Success Story. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, and 100,000 other platforms that are now out there. I do release a weekly video, blog, newsletter, all of that. You know, I'm 100% about sharing resources, content. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. You know, the key is not, should I reach out? It's how can I reach out? And I'm a resource, and I wish all of you and your listeners and great health, wealth, and success, because it's all available for us.
Well, thank you, Ivy, so much for being our guest speaker today. I've really enjoyed our conversation. Just some powerful, simple, practical steps that women can be doing right now. I mean, even that concept of taking out a piece of paper and gaining clarity, that could be a game changer. That could really get you out of overwhelm pretty quickly. So I love that you shared that. And so thank you again for joining us on our Masterclass series, The Secret, which we know what it is. It's not about balance. The secret to mastering your work-life balance as you succeed in your busy career.